Hello, my name's Iveoma, and I'm obsessed with the African diaspora building businesses in Africa. I headed to the Wharton Africa Business Forum, and I went to the Women in Business panel, and I liked all the speakers so much that I decided to chat with several of them after the event. All of this is coming up. I know that you went to school, you were born and raised in Nigeria, and then you went to school overseas. What made you decide to return to Nigeria?
Very good question. I actually moved back at the point that I joined McKinsey. I actually joined McKinsey in the US, but before starting, I decided to move back, and so I joined the office in Nigeria. I really wanted to be closer to my parents and my family at that particular point in time, but then that made me open to it, and then I met with the Nigeria leadership team, and I was just blown away by what they were trying to do. So I decided to take the plunge and go all in instead of doing like a short-term transfer, which was what was also an option that was available to me at that point. And to be honest, I there's no regrets, right? Because it's been fantastic, because the level of opportunity for leadership has been second to none. I don't think I would have had the opportunities that I've had if I was anywhere else but there, where we're opening a new office and doing fantastic things in terms of really lifting the profile of management consulting and building it as really a profession in Nigeria, and I've had a chance to have huge impact in a lot of different areas.
What is your advice for the African diaspora who are interested in moving back, interested in working for a company like McKinsey?
Don't overanalyze it. Give it a shot, right? So number one is, if you are interested, reach out to these companies, go through the application process, go through the application process and then give it a try. I do think a lot of times, and if I'm very transparent, some of my biggest fears were, quality of life and NEPA was a big crisis for me. But to be honest, not as expensive as I thought it was going to be to maintain a reasonable standard of living, which in my view was living in a service flat that had 24/7 power and 24/7 water, to keep the things that I was used to in terms of quality of life and have a driver to help me navigate traffic. And I was able to do this on a fairly reasonable rate, and that for me made the transition back not as harrowing or painful as, to be honest, I had imagined it at the time that I was making the move, right? So I would encourage folks to give it a shot. I would encourage moving back with a job. I've seen some people do it the other way, so it's possible, but I think it's very important for people not to hold themselves back from fear, but at least put safety nets so that if you do go and try something and you don't like it, you can have a safety net to fall back on. But I think it's a mistake not to even try.
I'm the U.S. CEO of an organization called Africa Tikkun, and it's a 24-year-old nonprofit organization based in South Africa. And we have the distinction of being one of the only 4 organizations that Nelson Mandela volunteered for as chief patron. What we do is, our whole reason for being is that we work in the townships, and we want to make sure that the kids growing up in those townships post-apartheid actually have a shot at the South African dream, right? Essentially making sure that we break the cycle of poverty that they're born into.
A couple of weeks after the Wharton event, I saw Elizabeth again at the Africa Diaspora Awards, and she won Advocate of the Year. So I'm going to put a little bit of that clip in here because, she did good. Congrats, Elizabeth.
A handful of us actually have dedicated our careers to fixing the world, or to fixing our corner of the world. And Elizabeth is one of those people. I'm very proud to present her with the award for Advocate of the Year.
Let me tell you a little bit about how I got involved in Africa Tikkun. In 2014, I was recruited by this organization in South Africa that had been around for 21 years called Africa Tikkun. And they were founded right after apartheid ended, to make sure that those kids in the townships who otherwise would have not had an opportunity would actually have a shot. So we started with nursery schools, and as the kids grew up, we added different resources. So we're at a point now where they're around 20-something years old. So we've now gotten to a point where we're addressing issues around going to university, we're addressing issues around job skills training and the like. And so we're working with about 20,000 of those children in 5 different townships within South Africa, and hopefully we'll be able to take our cradle to career holistic development model around the world. Because
the Tech Women Network is its first
it's my first online platform. And essentially it's like a LinkedIn for women with technical skills. So women can sign up, create profiles, list their skill sets and anything that they're seeking, whether they're seeking an employment, a speaking opportunity, an event. Launched it in March of this year. And I did a 3-city tour between New York, Philadelphia, and Washington, D.C. And since then, the platform has been growing.
Why is it important for women to get involved in STEM?
I think it's important just because of basically the numbers. Like, we need to see more women in STEM, in these roles, in these fields, and we need to see more women of color in these roles and in these fields, just because people want to be what and who they can see. And for the girls that are aspiring to be engineers or mathematicians or et cetera, it's helpful for them to see that there are women that have already done it, that are doing it today. I'm passionate about the women that were like me, that were, trained technologists and that are behind the scenes. I just want to pull them all out. I'm like, come forth, sisters, tell your stories, be seen, be heard, and let other women and young girls know that you exist.
Well, I think your platform is definitely going to do that for them.
Excellent. Yeah, and the platform is diverse, so it's not specifically for women of color, but
Women in tech.
Women in tech. But what has been so awesome is that I can just see them. Like, I can see all these faces of women technologists, and the rainbow of it all. Like, look at, we have Black women, we have Asian women, we have Latina women, we're here, and we're here in large numbers, but the world doesn't know this. And so that's kind of what has pushed me to just be more vocal. Like, no, we got women in tech, they're here.